Yeah, okay, I am here again, and today I am going to talk about HTML attributes. Attributes. So, what are HTML attributes? So, if you read HTML code and if you have been watching what I've been doing, and sometimes when I show you stuff, you can see that sometimes you can see probably an element like this, and then it says go, and then the element ends. By the way, if you have not been actually following us, we are going from the scratch, and we have treated what is an element and tags and tag names and all that. You can just refer to the previous lessons that we've done so that you can actually be up to speed. Okay, so now you can see this. So sometimes what you see is that in the start tag, you see something like this. Something, and then it closes before this close angle bracket of the start tag, just like this. So when you see things like that, they are what we call attributes. I'm going to show you in the computer, and we're going to see the effect immediately after this. So now, what are attributes? So attributes are HTML components that we use to actually beautify or empower the elements. So the HTML attributes, they actually give more information about the elements or give more powers or functionalities to the elements, right? And then, don't worry, we're going to see this like I told you. Let us go to the syntax of HTML attributes. The syntax. When we talk about the syntax, what we mean is the rules that we must follow when we are using an attribute. Now, every attribute must have a name, right? Must have a name. What is the name of the attribute? And most of the times, every attribute name must have a value. We're going to talk about that. There are some attributes that they don't have, explicit value, but it means they have implicit value. I'm going to show you. So that's what we call Boolean attributes. So now, syntax. How do you write an attribute? First is that you must know the name of the attribute. Is one of the keywords existing in HTML. You don't manufacture them, right? So what is the name of the attribute that you know? Now let's say the name, now we represent it with attribute name in this way, attribute name. Then what is the next thing you write? You write equal sign. And then what is the next thing? You open quotes. And then you now put whatever is the attribute value and then you close it. This is the syntax. This is the way we write attributes in HTML. So you write the attribute name, you follow it immediately with an equal sign, and then you open and close quotes, then the attribute value will be inside it. So now, the attribute value can be something that you manufacture, right? You can decide what the attribute name will be. Depending on the name of the attribute you're using. Some attributes, they have defined values that you choose from. But some, you write what you think should be your own value. I am going to show you. All right. So now, I know that there's an attribute called href. Href. So I know that there's an attribute called href, which actually stands for hypertext reference. Hypertext reference. So, and then how do I use it? So there are some attributes that are specific to some elements. You don't use it on any elements that you have. There are elements that are reserved for such attributes. For example, href, right? So href cannot just be used with a paragraph because it wouldn't make any sense, but you can use it with the anchor element that I'm going to show you, which we use in creating links. When you're browsing, you find out that you click some elements and then other things open. Maybe you go to another web page and stuff like that. Those are links, and we use the anchor element with the href to create a link. Let me show you. So now, let's say that you have a paragraph, for example, and then the paragraph is saying visit WHO. This is just what it is saying, and then the paragraph ends, right? So I may want to make this WHO a link so that whenever you click on it, I take you to WHO website. So what do I do? What I will do is that there's an element, like I told you, called the anchor element A, and then the anchor element is what should be there so that the hypertext that you want to click, the hypertext now becomes the text that is clickable and navigates you to another place in the internet. So the hypertext should be a child of this anchor element. So now what I should do now is that before I write WHO, I will now use this. I will now say anchor WHO, and then I end it, and then end my paragraph. This is just ending this element, and then I end my paragraph P in this way. But this alone doesn't make this a link. There must be the href attribute. And how do you put an attribute in an element? Let us write this attribute. I think we've written it. Okay, we didn't write it in full. I want to write this href in full right here. If I want to write it in full, what will I do? I will say href, which is the attribute name, equals, then in this open and close quote, probably I have https : whatever is the address of WHO, www. I don't know the address of it, but let us just say is who.int, for example. Then I close the quote. I write this in a straight line, sorry. So equals, I open this, and then I say https : and then www. This is the web address which I can copy, http, which I can copy, right, and paste. You're going to say it .who.int. Then I close this. So this is what I need to feed the anchor element so that it becomes actually a link, and then a user can click this and then it takes the user there. So where do I put this in this anchor element? The anchor element started here and ended here. This is the start tag, this is the content, and this is the end tag. And then from here to here is the content of the paragraph element. We've done all this. So now, where do I put it here? The attributes are entered in the start tag of an element. Now, in the start tag, so where in the start tag? This is the start tag, this is the end tag. So where in the start tag? So if I want to add an attribute to the paragraph, this is the start tag. So where in the start tag? We enter an attribute immediately after the tag name, and there should be a space between the tag name and the attribute. Now, it means that this A now should look like this. This is the open angle bracket, and then I give a space, and then I bring down the href equals https : www.who.int. This is not, I'm not sure, I'm going to check what is their web address. So you need to know, you need to go and copy it from somewhere. So then That is it before I now do what? End the angle bracket. So this becomes the start tag. So why is the start tag long? Because I have an attribute right inside the start tag. So this attribute is living right here. If you can see, this is where I wrote it, and then this one closed here. So it should just be after this start tag. Simple. But you don't write it together with the A, there should be what? A single space. An element can have as many attributes as are needed. So it means that if I want to add another attribute to this element, I will come to where this one stopped, which is this quote, and give a space again, add another one, add even 5 before I end this angle bracket. I believe you're understanding this. And if you have any question, please meet me in the comment section. So yeah, so that is it. Now, it means that this has to be plugged in here. So, for me to write this now in full, what will I do? I will now come and start the P here to accommodate that. This is the paragraph. And then I should come here and have visit. Then this is the start tag here. Then the WHO. And then I end the anchor element. And then end the paragraph. This is now the full code, right? So yeah, we started from here. Visit, then the WHO should be bordered by the anchor element. So the anchor element should have this as its content before you can make it a link, right? And then you can now come right here and put the href, hypertext reference. If a user clicks this, where are you referring the user to? I am referring the user to this web address. That is the hypertext reference. So this is the hypertext, and when you click it, I'm referring you to this address. That's why we call this hypertext reference. Right? So you're going to see this in action. I'm going to go to the computer right now and then show you the code. Okay, see you there.